Listeners and viewers, good morning once again. My name is Commissioner of Police Muleterwa Anatoli, and I'm the Commissioner of Police heading Community Policing Department in Uganda Police Force. Happy being here and happy being hosted on Magic FM for the first time at least. And like the host has said, I'm an ardent listener and viewer, and at the same time, a presenter on some issues, particularly policing, in the studios of UBC TV. But it is my first interaction being here, for which I'm extremely happy.
And just to mention you are funded, probably just to interject, you are both on Magic 100 FM and our mother station, UBC Radio 98.0 FM.
Oh, glad for that kind of whatever. It gives me the honor and the humility to be here, especially on this day for which we are having some topical issues concerning community policing. To come back to what the host has asked, what is this community policing all about? Our esteemed listeners, you'll all agree or even disagree, depending on what you want, that the police comes from you. There is no way the police can stand without you. There is no way the police can render services without you. Maybe you can wish away the police, but the police cannot wish you away. And therefore, the framers of the police, especially this form of policing, from the time of Robert Pearce. You know, Robert Pearce is regarded to be the father of formal policing. But not per se that policing was not there, but this formal policing. The formal policing we are talking about started in the 19th century. And it started in Ireland.
That is the 1800s.
Yes. But you see, later on the parents of Robert Pearce migrated from Ireland to Britain. He was made the Secretary of State in Britain then. And the insecurity had risen. And remember, that was the time of the Industrial Revolution in England. The creation of the handlooms and all that kind of innovations and creations that came about. So classes began rising. The have and have-nots, the rich and the poor, the bourgeoisie, and the proletariats, that kind of classes. So given that, this brought about the element of sentiment, the element of intentions, the element of actions, especially against those who have, by those who have not. And the have-nots, having been the majority, they were targeting the haves.
The minority.
Yes, the minority. So this created a lot of insecurity in terms of burglary, in terms of safety, in terms of assault, in terms of housebreaking and the like. And it discouraged the spirit of industrial development. So the government of England then came up with a suggestion. How do we improve the security of these people? Because during the time they can be around, they can be able to secure their property, they can be able to ensure that there is nobody doing ABCD. But at the same time, what happens during night? So that's now when Robert Pearce came up with an innovation of young, able-bodied men regarded as volunteers. Banachewa, bamoyo gwagwanga, bagwanga muje, and said, no, come, let's do something. So indeed, those young, able-bodied men volunteered, and at that time, the catchword for them was night watchmen. Yes, they were watching at night over the property of the house as they were sleeping to ensure that criminality, as I've alluded to, does not happen. So indeed, with the time, these night watchmen, the volunteers, the able-bodied young men did a very, very commendable job. And at that time when they did a very commendable job, they also did it without pay. It was voluntary and free. It was patriotism at its level best. So, because of that, therefore, these young men, after doing a commendable job, and after seeing that criminality had reduced, the then leadership of England tasked Father Robert Peel and said, now, these are young men. They are indeed doing a very good job. They are not allowing the thugs, the attackers, to ensure that they steal. What do we do? Can we develop up an organization which will ensure that it is civil, it is based in the community, it is anchored on principles of partnership with the community, and also it can be salaried and can be guided by professional code of conduct. So, around 1820, upon being tasked, Robert Peel chose two professionals, a military man and a lawyer, to develop what they called standard operating procedure for an organization which would ensure provision of safety and security of the community in general. This time round, not only targeting the property of the wealth, but providing security on behalf of government for the general good of the community and public, and also ensure security of public good per se. So because of that, therefore, Robert Peels got those two professionals, an army man and a lawyer. And this gives the basis, you know, when people begin wondering, why does the military work with the police? Why does the military does this? It is because of the myopic thinking and lack of in-depth understanding of the history of the police. The framers of the police come from the two professionals, the legal and the military professional. The only difference between the military and police is that the military deals with the precision, while the police deals with social sciences and discretion. This is the fundamental differences. Social sciences, it deals with the conscience of the society and how to deal, whereas the military deals with exact precision. Now, that aside, under when the two young professionals came together, they came up with what we call the 9 standard operating procedures. And out of the 9 standard operating procedures, and that's when even the word operating procedures came to effect. 2, they came up with the name police. The name police is an abbreviation, an acronym. An acronym of letters. P standing for polite, that those who are mandated to carry out the enforcement of the law must be polite, must be professional, must be anchored on ethical conduct. 2, they must be obedient. Obedient to ensure that whatever they do is not exaggerated, is not carried out by emotion, but it is taken up by the discretionary ability, you as a policeman and the community. You see, police work requires that when you are executing your duty, you put your position in 4 lenses. 1, you put yourself in the lens of a complainant or a victim. You put your lenses to you as a policeman and therefore a law enforcer. You put yourself in the lenses of the community you are serving, and you equally put yourself in the lenses of the general, the community you are serving, the general public. And that's the reason why policing is based on discretion. The law is there, but what does the law say vis-a-vis Ubuntu? And that's where His Excellency is very emphatic on Ubuntu. The spirit and frameworks of policing anchored the desire for a policeman to use buntubulamu. Buntubulamu. Kino kiguddewo kitya. Nandikoze ntya singa yandibadde nze. Ate oyo akikoze atya. Etteeka ligamba ki? Society yonna egamba ki? That is the whole policing and the desire for that. While all is obedient. Yes. L stands for loyalty, but at the same time, you must be a very, very good listener. You know, we have a very big culture, especially when you are entrusted with authority, to assume that you should dominate every discussion. You should be able to dominate every kind of argument. You should even be able to shut up and say, keep quiet, you are what? No. As a law enforcement officer and especially a policeman, be very quick to listen, but very slow to act and very slow to respond. Why? Because through listening, you are able to deduct, you are able to adduce, you are able to contextualize a situation and therefore be able to respond appropriately. The letter I stands for integrity, intelligent. That, you know, there are certain situations, and that's why in most instances, not all solutions are based on the law, but they are based on solutions. I mean, they are based on the context of a problem.
Common sense.
Common sense. Let me give you a scenario. There is always the principle of no surrender but retreat. You know, under circumstances, you have a gun, you have a uniform, but you realize that the offensive force against you is maybe stronger than you, maybe in terms of the weaponry, in terms of the number, in terms of the environment. Maybe they have even surrounded you. Now, under any circumstance, as a law enforcement officer, you are to use your intelligence and say, what do I do in order to stay alive and at the same time overcome?
Rescue the situation.
Yes. There are 2 cases, there are 2 scenarios in which you can be able to respond to that. 1, you either communicate very fast and call for reinforcement.
Call for backup.
Yes, or you surrender. Surrendering does not mean that you are weak, but rather you have assessed the situation and you want to ensure that out of that assessment, you are still alive, and at the same time, because at the same time, you know, when you are alive, you will be counted on as those who have done. One time there was a scenario when thugs attacked a police in the island, and you know, they had arrested a goon in the island, and you know, our islands are far apart. Even the means of transport is quite complex. Yeah. They arrested 2, and there were only 2 policemen. The other thugs called other thugs, and they came in tens. And for the police to reach and rescue the other two policemen required an hour's travel.
Wow.
So what happened was that two things happened. These policemen, other than using lethal, they used the tongue to soothe the situation.
Persuasion technique.
Yes. They even gave, they began engaging these people. You see, stealing is not good. You see, we don't arrest these people because we wanted to detain them. But you see, we wanted to talk to them. But as they were doing that, they were calling for reinforcement, backup. So at the end of the time, at the end of the day, they called, the force came in, and even the other thugs who had come up were neutralized. So intelligence under situations.
Okay.
How do you handle? And that's the reason why we talk about 99. 99 is just a survival, is an operational adage that provides for you that when you are handling a situation, when you are tackling a situation, when you are responding to a situation, how do you manage to overcome? Not all solutions to problems that you are handling lie within the law, but they lie outside. So that is the scenario of the 99. When the situation overcomes you, then it would have not been 99. It turns out to be 66. But we always encourage you to apply 99. The other C is for courage.
Oh.
Courage.
Okay.
You know, the framers of this, like I even gave you the story, was that, you see, people, the industrialists, the owners of resources, were going to bed. But how come that these boys who were less armed, who did not even have anything to protect themselves, were staying outside in the cold, in the dark, in the rain, very resiliently, and ensuring that they are able to secure those properties? That is the courage you need to go to. And that's why sometimes you see policemen, whether rain, too much sunshine, too dusty, too dark, too whatever, or even when you are celebrating and jumping around and dancing all the same, policemen are committed to do what they are doing. You know, one time I went to a ceremony. You know, you like the security always to be there. And even when the director of communication is announcing, say, you people jubilate security guru because we have Uganda Police Forces providing. Right. And of which, by the way, we like that kind of introduction. But you see, when it happens, when it comes to feeding, you don't even think that the police deserve to eat. So one time, I deployed policemen at a certain ceremony. Yes. They had been in the dark for 12 hours. So time came when they were giving out food. And one of the organizers said, please, you allow the policemen to come and eat. I said, okay, let them go and eat in turn. Then a certain cantankerous woman came and grabbed plates and said, no, this is not your food. Go away. No. I just went to the policemen. They were hungry, they were fatigued, they were insulted, but I told them, please, calm down. Calm down. So that kind of resilience cannot come from an auxiliary whatever. It comes with that courage.
But did you eat that day?
No, we left their food, but we served. We served. We did our. We provided our mandate. We provided security and left them. Definitely, those who saw, we left the public to judge. But that is generally, it shows the kind of attitude people have against us.
Then finally, the E.
The E, you must have a minimum level of education.
Oh.
Yes, at least. Be educated. That's why you must have the ability to read and write, record a statement, discern, and all of that. Now, whereas that is how the name the police came about, and whereas we are supposed to be obedient both to government and the general public, the 9 principles exclude the name. And amongst those principles, there is the 4th principle, where the framer, Robert Peels, stated that the public is the police and the police is the public. So the center stage of our engagement is premised on that 4th principle, on realizing that police cannot come, does not come from the blue. It comes from the public.
The community.
We cannot work without the public. After all the evidence we gather comes from the public. The victims we get come from the public. The suspects we get come from the public.
The public are your clients.
Typically. Without you, we are not there.
Okay.
The scenes of crime we manage come from you. The first responders to scenes of crime come from you. And therefore, it becomes very paramount for us to have that kind of partnership and carry it further.
Yeah.
Now, for the case of Uganda, therefore, when the police was introduced, it was introduced around 1899. But to be formally established as a formal organization was 25th May 1906. And that's why in the the Uganda Police Force has ever celebrated its history of existence and service. For example, the first Silver Jubilee was celebrated in 1956 on 25th May. That was still when Uganda was under colonial rule. Since then, the post-independent celebrations did not occur. It was not until 2014, around 3rd October, when we celebrated a century plus of police existence. We carried out national celebrations, but the grand celebration was conducted at Kololo. We were earmarking a century of challenges, transformation, and community policy, where we were emphatic on the desire for the police to go to the community and ensure that they interact with the community and ensure that they connect with the community and ensure that they mobilize and influence the community and ensure that we are able to get numbers that support the police from the community. Because you realize that the majority in every community, for example, we have, according to the 2024 population census, Uganda has a population of around 45, 46?
45.9.
Yeah, 45.9 million people. What about the Uganda Police Force? The Uganda Police Force currently stands at around 50. We are projecting ourselves to around 60,000 people. Now, if you were to divide that, the ratio of a policeman to the population, how many policemen would it? The international standards require that one policeman serves 500. But there are other countries that have gone as far as 250. But Uganda, we are still far below that ratio. Simply because our manpower strength compared to the number of people we serve is very minimal. But at the same time, even Whereas we may be able to look at that kind of ratio. That ratio is not even, because we have some districts where you have the population far bigger, far larger than the number of policemen who are there. So we are still struggling. But the only way we can be able to have a multiplier force is by mobilizing them through community policing.
Okay, let's put a pause at